28 years ago to the day. 28 years ago to the day.
What are the odds that we just haphazardly decided to stumble upon the release date?
Yeah, the release date, which was a huge deal, and it's actually commemorated on the album cover. We got a lot to say about this album. I think it is perhaps the most interesting Oasis album in some ways. Be Here Now. And not only that, we're doing this 1 week from this moment, Ben. If I'm looking at the on stage times for the European shows, I have
8:20 Central.
Yeah, 8:20 Central. We will probably be midway through the first Oasis song at Soldier Field. What's it going to be? Because you're doing an Oasis thing. So what is the opening song going to be? And by the way, how do you think they're going to walk on the stage? Like, what do you envision is the big entrance for Oasis?
We live in 2025 right now, so in our circle of guys growing up, I would say something to preface this next statement. I'm not going to. I was thinking about this in the shower, and Mike, you and I have been to the Stones multiple times. We have been to many what I would call an ironclad rock show, and I was thinking to myself, is this going to be my first true stadium like rock concert? Because like,
let's think on that, because the Stones one we saw together was freezing cold, and we
freezing
saw
cold at Soldier Field. It was
Rammstein.
Yeah, so that was incredible at Soldier. But the vibe there was peculiar, to say the least. Obviously, Rammstein is its own animal, and like I was pumped to be there, and the music was incredible. But the whole time you were sort of on edge in a different capacity, and the what they do on stage, the theatrics you get with Rammstein is also something you kind of have to be like on your toes for. So you're not just like lost in the sauce. You're kind of on edge and like head on a swivel the whole time.
It's more spectacle than music concert in some ways, and that's part of their appeal. I mean, they're amazing at it.
What I mean about this though is I have a feeling, just based on the excitement and the lack of negative response that you, Nate, and everybody else have sort of shared. You haven't spoiled anything, but you also have smiled and grinned in ways that I'm like, man, this can't even be close to a letdown because of the volume of excitement that I'm gauging. So what I mean by it is I have a feeling there's going to be a moment when we're there. You know, we leave whatever bar we're at 4:30, 4:45. We go get in line. The buzz really starts to build. We get in, we get our drinks, we get positioned. We're probably high-fiving strangers and shit. But I watch old Oasis shows, and there's just a vibe. And I'm curious if it's going to translate to the U.S. where there's that sea of people that are bouncing. There's just that like raw energy that you find at every Oasis show you've ever seen live.
I think when we're saying hi to people, random strangers in the field, I guarantee you we're going to be talking to a few people that are international people. And so like, I think there are high chances we will be within a 5-foot radius of someone from England. And it's going to be difficult for me to not almost be a like cultural tourist and be like, so tell me, did you ever see Oasis back in England? Did you see them on one of the dates so far? And like pick their brains, because the vibe you're talking about that I hope we get, and I think we might, is very much derived from those shows over there. So does it travel across the pond? I don't know.
Right.
I think it's a chance though.
And that's the big thing. So to revert all the way back and answer your question, I'm torn between two songs. And man, the closer we get, like when we get on site in Chicago, I'm gonna have a conversation with Kenton to be like, man, if we're at a bar early, or like we're standing around in our spots on the field and somebody happens to spill the proverbial beans on anything that they've seen, I mean, we can't help that. You know, I mean, I'm not going to ask them like anything about the show, but I have a feeling that we're going to hear certain instances of things along the day. Just it's the essence of the beast there. But I feel strongly about Aqueous, but I think it'd be pretty kick-ass if they just came out to Hello. I don't know why. It's just like I don't know. It to me would seem like such a proper welcoming to the U.S. and the field, and just sort of set the tone. So,
I like that this will come out 2 days before our show. It'll come out after their 2 shows in Toronto. So they're already in North America. In fact, on Instagram today, they had a post. This Oasis has landed with the Canadian flag under it. And then they have these production ticket releases, the same way that when we used to go to the Assembly Hall and we'd get sick tickets for whatever. The production tickets are getting released for each of these shows. So, okay, your predictions are either acquiesce or hello. We've talked before, and we'll do it again for this podcast, you predicting what songs from the album will make it. Understandably, and I think reasonably so, you have a lot fewer that you'll probably pencil in from Be Here Now. Yet, this album of its time was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to be honest, because I didn't live through the moment where there was probably a year or two later a little bit of like growing disappointment that it was not Definitely Maybe and was not Morning Glory. That because all I know is the last year of listening to Oasis, there is a chance I've been listening to this album every bit as much as the first two.
Unsurprising. I think that these three get lumped together on purpose for different reasons. It was no secret that this record was a mess. I mean, I think at this point they were, I don't even want to say the word drowning, but it's probably a good metaphor, speaking of the album cover. Drowning in drugs. The fights were pretty much nonstop, and the vibes of the session just left bad taste in everybody's mouth involved. So like the fact that they produced this, dude, it's so reminiscent to what we talked about with Zeppelin. Like by the time they were hitting albums, 3 and 4, it's insane. Like how the gene pool of rockers across the pond in their makeup, they have almost like a steady, like, almost like you talk to a girl for the first time and then your buddy does it and he's a couple years younger than you, and then you date for the first time and get your heart broken. It's so similar in rock and roll. Like they go through their similar ebbs and flows where they hit a peak. And then this third album, I'm with you. Whenever I was hitting my Oasis stride, I was listening to this with no preconceived notion that I should be upset about it or less than in any way. That said, it's less of a gut punch in some respect to me than the first two when I go back now, because I do have the knowledge now that I didn't have when I was younger. So this was a fun one, as they all are, to kind of stretch that muscle and go back from top to bottom. I don't know if I've ever listened to Be Here Now from start to finish in order as intended. So that was a fun one. And yeah, man, I will get to it in terms of my Chicago guesses, but overall, just looking forward to this one, and I think it just is gonna have some organic energy because of what's right on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean we're a week away as we record this, and it will come out 2 days before the Chicago show, and then after that, we'll try to line up a sort of post-show episode where we talk about our experience there. And I know we're going to do that, and then we might have our buddy Nate as part of that if we can get schedules together. I have a theory before we get started in this album about Be Here Now and its importance. I think that after this, nothing was ever the same for Oasis. And what I mean by that is the Oasis mania that has kind of recaptured the world, if we're being honest right now, is 90s Oasis mania. And it's not that there's not worthy things on the albums we're about to go into, because there are. There's really good stuff on Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. On Heathen Chemistry has some great singles and a couple of other album tracks we'll talk about. I'm partial to Don't Believe the Truth because I actually kind of like what they were trying to do with it. And then Dig Out Your Soul is not a bad final album. I mean, there's cool shit on it, but the idea of Oasis as the world's biggest band ended not long after this came out. And it's like the reaction it got immediately placed it above their first two, from sales to reviews, because no critic wanted to be wrong about this like they were What's the Story, Morning Glory. And yet it's like people turn on it so quick. And I know we both like Radiohead, for example, right? This comes out the same year as OK Computer. And talk about two incredibly different pulls, right? Because OK Computer is, the songs are tight. Of course, there's like themes and it's dark and depressing, but I mean, it still rocks, and it's pretty much a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. This is bloated. It is drug fueled. It is egomaniacal, if you will. But all that said, because I didn't live through it, maybe, think it's kind of charming for all of those reasons. And you said it via text. What a great driving record. Yep. Throw this on, and now the weather is just getting perfect. It's not hot as balls anymore, and it's like beautiful summer nights, just like it's going to be up at the lakefront. And it's like, man, give me some Be Here Now when I got to crank it up and want to get. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm getting from it.
For sure. And it also a kind of a callback to last episode where, you know, I was sitting there because I was doing the same exercise, and my daughter went back to school a couple of weeks ago, and my son Brooks does not start daycare for another couple of weeks. So we have been doing the Cupid shuffle of Brooks, either, you know, having coverage of the babysitter or whatever. And a couple times he's just been home with me while I'm grinding away. And he's like the best 2-year-old of all time, like greatest assistant. But a couple days ago, we pop in the truck and I'm like, you know, let's go get lunch, buddy. And like go to the park really quick during my lunch hour. And the beauty of remote work. Right. And so we do. And like, I've got it just cranked in the truck. It's a beautiful day. Got the windows down and he's just in the back seat with his sunglasses on. And My Big Mouth comes on. And I tell you, dude, like it has been, golly, I mean, no bullshit, probably 17 or 18 years since I've listened to that track top to bottom. Like I was trying to think about it to myself, but as we're driving and it's cranked and the windows are down, I'm looking in the rearview mirror to my son's mirror and My Big Mouth is on. And I'm like, I'm singing every lyric. Like it never left some pit of my brain, which is just crazy to think about, you know? And it's not even a song that I like every once in a while think, man, I need to throw this album on and listen to that. Like it just was lost in translation. And I think that's the power of where we were at during this time frame, you know, 97, like I was 11. So like just living in the perfect pocket of music in the mid to late 90s. And I was consuming anything that could come out. And at this point I was all in on Oasis. So I think I was probably with everybody else in tow thinking it's going to be similar, if not better than everything they've already released. And I'm bought in. So
it hits immediately. So like I imagine people that bought it the day of were not disappointed. I mean, there's big tunes on it, and we'll get into the excess and everything in the song lengths and the actual excess, like drug abuse, which was rampant. This is not going to be, you know, how there's like, what do they call those actors that, the method actors, like they become the character. Like if we were to be method podcasters right now, we'd have a nice little mirror in front of each of us with just nicely diced lines of cocaine. And we do this for 6 hours. We won't do that. But I think that this album is sort of the end. You were 11, so there's that innocence. But I think that people 10 years older than you back then still had it. This album is ear candy and it goes down smooth. But it's sort of like a Pepsi, and why I like Coke better. The Pepsi challenge works because when you take a little dip of it, it's sugary sweet more so than Coke. That's why people always take the 1 ounce of Pepsi. The problem is this is about 80 minutes long, and I don't listen to every song, and I do skip through a few, but the ones I land on, I will put up there with any Oasis song. I really mean that. I think that this album also has swagger, and in a way that even the first two didn't quite get to. And I kind of like hearing a band at their absolute peak of popularity, just swaggering, like balls out, unapologetic for all of their ego. And we don't get that enough in rock and roll. And maybe that's part of the reason why Oasis's reunion has been so massive. People want rock stars, and finally we have a couple to look at again.
Yeah, you're right. I'm with you on that. And you know, the funny part is, I find often when we're doing this podcast, the hardest part beyond the full rankings of tracks, which is its own animal, is the other awards like, you know, Killer Line and things like that. It's always kind of sometimes hard to derive, like, you know, what am I feeling today? What am I going to put down? This one was the opposite. I was like biting at the bit because I knew exactly before I even set foot to start writing stuff down what was going to be my Killer Line. Who was going to be my MVP, just because and I don't recall this album a ton, like in my life right now. So whenever I did this, I was like, oh man, I got a chuckle right as I heard the line that I wrote down, because I remember as a kid, like very few lyrics from different bands that just was like, you're sitting in your room and I would literally give out like a fuck yeah, dude. And like, so I'm ready to rock,
on
dude.
this album.
There are, and I was like, just gives you that boost of adrenaline, and you're like, all right, man, they're on to something here. So,
well, let's launch into it.
Cool, let's do it.
All right, 1 week away, 28 years removed from the release of Be Here Now. This is Drop the Needleheads, where the records spin, the bourbon flows, and in the case of this series, Shampod Supercasta, the takes are as layered as Noel Gallagher's guitars on this very album. It's kind of ridiculous. I am Schmiggy, Mike Carpenter, Schmiggy, and that is Ben Yates, Yahtzee.
Yow!
That's me. You got a signature sign on now. It's fantastic. And you're wearing shades tonight.
Yeah.
Look at this shit. All right.
Little Liam, dude. No.
I mean, no, I dig it. No, keep them. Like we have been slap happy as shit the last 2 weeks now, and we have a countdown on our chat thread. So the fact that not only just next Thursday, but the fact that we'll be able to get up there a little bit before that and have time to get ready for this. And I hope that our buddy Nate, maybe this will be his airplane listening music on his airplane listening podcast on his way in from Austin.
I hope so. Let me also really quick before we jump in, it just occurred to me, and I was thinking about this upstairs that I wanted to touch on before we did totally dive in. Today was peculiar, man. It was one of those days I just mentioned. I was working from home. Brooks was home with me, and I had a pretty busy day, so I try to make sure he's taken care of and fulfilled in entertainment as I'm, plugging away. And Keith gets back from his trip from work early today, and I hear a knock at the door, and I can't answer. I'm in the middle of a meeting. Brooks is running to the front door. He's running back to me and like poking me, telling me there's somebody, and I know, there's somebody. But I go to my front door, and there's a couple gifts in way of bourbons on my front porch. And I get a text from him saying, hey, man, just left you some stuff for your trip to Chicago next week. I know I'm going to see you this weekend, but wanted to get it over to you. And then about 2 hours later, there's a knock at the door, and I go, and no one is there. And there's a package on the front porch. And I grab it, and I mean, it's no surprise when there's Amazon or other packages on the front porch. The kicker is I never order them. So, like, it's always something for Collins or Emily or Brooks. And I grab it, and it has my name on it. And I'd already got my Oasis t-shirt from you, the R-Kid design, which is awesome. Rip it open, and it is a Mike Ditka style, okay? The two orange lines on top and below the text, and in white it says Oasis on a navy blue t-shirt. I'm like, son of a bitch. You know exactly who sent it to me, because Kenton was throwing around these designs for Chicago tour shirts in the thread a couple days ago. And he pulled the trigger and ordered me one, dude. And this thing is so freaking sweet. Like, both that and the R-Kid shirt are so sweet that it dawned on me that I don't know if I want to wear them and then wash them, because they're so mint. Like, I love these fucking t-shirts. So it's going to be a tough call to see, like, when and, what reason I bust them out. Like, I fully think I'll travel in the Chicago Bears one on Wednesday as I'm traveling through the airport and stuff.
That's the way to do it.
But nonetheless, man, just super sweet. And it dawned on me. I'm like, then my wife got home and she was like, are you you're podding tonight? I'm like, yeah. She's like, you getting excited? I was like, I am. Like, so I think it's just general knowledge of what's about to happen. And it's not just, it's one thing if it's built up in your head, you know what I mean? It's like, we're going to this show. It's easy to get excited for yourself and the experience you're about to have. But whenever it's sort of bleeding out and other people realize that, it's a monumental occasion, it's just awesome.
You're exuding. Yeah. I mean, right now we're exuding. We have an aura about us because of this excitement that I don't know if I've had it for a concert in a long time. And I only got in this band the last freaking calendar year, but it's been contagious, so like, and I've not been the no Oasis camp. I've been watching and consuming everything. I know what the set list is going to be. I know what the stage and visuals and all that look like, but nonetheless, it's the fact that it also feels like we're part of something. And I think that what's been cool about these gigs is it's not just nostalgia. That was the driving force to buying the tickets. But if it were just nostalgia, this thing would not have taken off in the way that it did on social media and basically captured the rock world by storm. That, holy shit, this is as good as it's ever been. So
Yeah,
that's really exciting to see.
And to boot, if they were doing 20, 30 US shows and we were number 4, 10, 15 on the leg, and we were just like catching them because we could catch them, I have a feeling that it's just there's something about the fact that we are going to be the first US soil show in our favorite football stadium with all of our favorite people minus a few, obviously, like my wife and some others that can't make it. But it just there's this power behind it that didn't even really exist for Rage Against the Machine. And we were as high on that as you could have ever been leading into that show. But there's just something that's even in addition more, because I truly always thought we'll hear Rage again. We'll see them in some capacity. I never honestly thought that this would ever happen with Oasis ever. So here we are. Be Here Now, ready to kick started. I'm going to have a little sip of my adult beverage here.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers to you, and cheers to this album, and cheers to this podcast, and cheers to it being almost officially show week. So
we're going to go back to the summer of 1996, if that's okay. You were a young whippersnapper about to turn 10 years old. I was as well, and I guess that means we were probably entering our 4th grade years. But Be Here Now isn't quite on the horizon yet. In fact, Oasis 1996 was an up and down year. You had the Nebworth shows in August 1996, which, of course, there are heavy rumors that they will do that next year. And I've already kind of peeped the, how do you go to a Nebworth show? Okay, well, you stay in London. You take the train out. You take the train back. Easy peasy. I think if I can do it, we're doing it. I think you're on the same page. We'll figure it out when we need to. But anyways, Be Here Now was a creation of a band that was absolutely at their peak. Nebworth, 2.5 million ticket requests for 250,000 total tickets. They only did 2 shows. They could have done a residency there, and they elected not to. So those shows have grown in stature. People knew it at the time. It was very much the moment that Britpop was the biggest thing in the world and that Oasis was the biggest band in the world. So Noel understandably wants to go right back into the studio. But you mentioned it. This is sort of peak brothers going back and forth. There's the Unplugged, the notorious MTV Unplugged, which, I mean, we can laugh at the fact that Liam is just catcalling from the seats. But it is a dick move, you know. And then not that long after that, they play the MTV Video Music Awards. And Liam is not having it. And he intentionally sings off key. And he like spits beer on the stage, and Noel is ready to quit, essentially. So I got a question for you. Do you think Oasis would have been better served? Because Noel thinks this, if they would have taken a couple years off, or do you think that they needed to strike while the iron was hot? Like if a follow-up comes out in 1999, is it anywhere near as big as this? Is it anywhere near as what I still think is good as this? Or did they lose that mojo?
Yeah, it's a tough question. You know, I always side on the air of reality and what's happened. And like right now, like if they did take a break, and let's just say they made this amends that actually took them 20 years and they did it in 2, and they haven't stopped since then, would they have the opportunity to have existed in this pocket of like they're still alive, they're clearly still capable, but they aren't, right? Because they have this rift. On the flip side, it probably was more drug fueled than people let on. Pair that with the fact that you're with a sibling. I mean, I'm an only child, but like I know how even things get when we're around each other. You know, our group of friends, like perfect example leading up to the show when we're going to be in our physical presence, things get kind of angsty. And Mike, we were in a band together too, and there was arguments over
cowbell,
too much tambourine and cowbell that literally, like, I mean, it's laughable, like you said, but on the flip side too, it was a moment where people were drawing the proverbial line in the sand saying like, you put this on the album, like I'm totally done, because it's more of a, I'm letting you know I don't like that artistic move, and you're just telling me it's going in.
Yeah.
And you add lawyers and money and tours and drugs and experiences, and also
they're young.
I mean, dude, I know how I feel after just a week of just work. Not that my job is very, like, you know, easy, but I'm in sales, but like it's also not extremely hard, Mike. And like, if you're talking about doing the tour legs that they were doing back then, where talk about Groundhog Day, talk about attitudes, talk about their, I mean, just the being around one another and the band and having to make this all work at all times. I don't think I would have erred on the side of taking a break and then coming back and having another go out. And truly, man, I don't think knowing Liam and seeing his presence on Twitter and X over the last 10, I mean, I've followed him forever. And,
but he would not be easy to be around all the time.
No. And he's also, I think, just sort of like existed in that and known like, hey, there's probably a lot of this that was on me. Like, he's not a dumb guy.
He gets it now. I 100% think that.
And I think Noel, too, to his point, you've seen him talk about the two of them, where he's like, you know, Liam is a puppy and I'm a cat. Like, he knows how to push buttons too. He's not just the innocent bystander that like Liam was the problem child in public, right? But I do think that like that was stemmed from Noel poking the bear, and then Liam is like, all right, I mean, you know that I'm going to let you know that I don't like those moves, and this is what I'm going to do to prove it to you in the public eye, and you know, kick rocks, fuck off type of deal. So I don't know, man. I am happy that things played out the way that they did, and we're getting like way off subject in terms of like the overarching cloud of Oasis, but like I am pleased because of what we're about to experience and the reason that we're going to experience it. And I think that if they would have tried to take any kind of hiatus or break before this album, that there would have been a lot of what we know as Oasis gone, you know. And I almost enjoy the roughness, like I mean, dude, it's pretty much grunge at its core without being the genre grunge. I mean, they're like, it's punk rock at its finest. They're like, can't get along, but they make amazing art. You want more of it. You can't get more of it, but they're still alive, right? So it's a difference from what you're usually not used to. Jimi Hendrix dies young. Kurt Cobain dies young. You're not going to ever get it again. But these guys are around. They just can't make it happen because they're such an amazing artist that they butt heads and they can't do it. So I'm just, you know, at the end of the day, I'm happy that it played out the way that it did. And if they would have taken a break, I don't know, man. Maybe.
No, I think it's part of the mystique. I think it had to happen in a way, because for us to be as excited as we are about this now, there had to be a lot of turmoil to get there. And this was really the first major played out in public brawls that they had. I know there were little bits and pieces, and Noel quit the band and wrote in San Francisco or at the Whiskey A Go-Go, flew to San Francisco, wrote Talk Tonight. They had to convince him to come back. And that's all documented. But, you know, the interesting thing is that they recorded this in spring of 1997. So 1996 up and down, they were going back and forth. But their producer, Owen Morris, or co-producer with Noel, actually thought it would have been better if they would have recorded this in the summer of 1996 before Nebworth, because he said the vibes were still high. And you can listen to demos that Noel recorded with Owen Morris, the Mystique demos. And there's some cool shit there because it's the skeletal versions of these songs. And you can tell these are good songs. And they played My Big Mouth at Nebworth. They played It's Getting Better Man at Nebworth, and they were done. The songs were not works in progress. So they could have done it early. And maybe then you get the third album without that, without the bullshit, whether it's the sonic bullshit that this album has some of, or all the things going on around the band.
My Big Mouth at Nebworth, I truly can't get enough of. It's crazy because like the sort of Dave Matthews effect, like it's I don't get the same essence from the studio album track than I do seeing that live at Nebworth.
It's so good live.
So good. So
you know why? Because you can't, there's so many guitars on the freaking studio track.
Yeah.
That it's just this syrupy mess of electric guitars. But
and
it's kind of, I've grown to appreciate what it is.
Lyrically, it's holy crap, awesome. Man. I mean, Liam just fucking nails it at Nebworth, and it's kind of a call out on him. I mean, so it's just
Noel, because Noel had a big mouth. Yeah, it's autobiographical.
It's just cool, man. I love it. But
yeah, I just love. We'll get to it. But My Big Mouth, you could fly a plane, and it's just that's a great lyric, man. We'll get to it. So, anyways, they do go in the studio in the spring of 1997. They get it done. The idea behind this is to make the biggest possible record. Like, so this was by design. It's bombastic, layers of guitars on it, just obscene overdubs, a studio orchestra, or not a studio, but a full-blown orchestra for all around the world. And as you know, in the Supersonic documentary, that was a song they had from the earliest days of Oasis. And, Noel knew, well, we don't have, it's like a director that knows, I can't make that movie yet because I don't have the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't see through the vision of All Around the World, which is his version of Hey Jude, without millions of dollars at his disposal, which he had for Be Here Now, which at the time was one of the most expensive records ever made. And I'll give him credit for this. It sounds like it. It sounds like one of the most expensive records ever made, for better and worse.
Yeah, I mean, recording at Abbey Road, I think, was a flex. Finally, you notice where they're actually going to lay some of this stuff down. You're like, all right, that dude, you book time at Abbey Road. It's a flex. I don't care what you think. You drowned. You spent $100,000 to drown a Rolls Royce in a pool. Mm-hmm. It's a flex. So I think they were making it known, like, we're gonna surround this album with sort of our chutzpah in its purest form, and let it ride. But there's still such essences of original, like, OG Oasis in this as well. It's not like it's we're gonna call this one in. That's not what I gathered from this album, and it could have easily been that. So
this is from their manager, Marcus Russell, and he said 10 years after the album came out in 2007, he said, in retrospect, we went in the studio too quickly. The smart move would have been to take the rest of the year off, so the rest of 1996, because they went in November 1996. But at the time, it seemed like the right thing to do. If you're a band and you've got a dozen songs you think are great, why not go and do it? And that's the thing. They had the songs, so why sit on it? So they're in the studio from November 1996 through April 1997. Compare and contrast that. That's 6 months. And not that they were there every day, but compare and contrast that with basically the 2 weeks it took What's the Story, Morning Glory. So this was labored. It was an expensive studio. It was Abbey Road. You're right about all the flexes, but they had to labor through this in a way that they, definitely maybe they had to re-record and all that because it didn't sound right. They had to remix it. But this seems like it was a lot more tumultuous. I imagine that by the time it was done, they were just happy to hand it off and be done with it.
Yeah. Well put.
I walk by Abbey Road Studios, and it is a fairly nondescript white building. And I'm just seeing a picture here on a Be Here Now article. And I don't know if this album to me doesn't sound like an Abbey Road album.
No.
Because it's so, it's so raucous that I if it weren't on the liner notes, I wouldn't believe it.
That's, as soon as I read it, I'd kind of chuckle to myself because I'm like, it was probably a dream of theirs in a very, either even an incubator stage where they were like starting to float around ideas. And I bet they would laugh over a pint and say, like, be crazy if one day we were recording at Abbey Road, like any band would say, but for them to finally be there, I'm sure it wasn't even like there was no reason behind it besides they just want to record there. So I kind of did the same thing. I was like, I didn't take it in sonically. It does not sound like it was done at Abbey Road. I don't know what I even mean by that statement or what you mean by that statement, but you get it. If you've listened to any Beatles album or anything that was recorded there, you just understand that there's a certain essence and warmth to it. And I don't gather that from this album, but nonetheless, still awesome. I didn't go down the deep dive because I was still totally focused on the album and what I was doing, but it made me think. I'm like, I really want to take time at one point to look at all of the artists and all the albums that I know of and maybe don't know of that were recorded at Abbey Road.
I mean, Dark Side of the Moon,
Ugh.
Abbey Road, sonically perfect, right? The Beatles stuff obviously was ahead of its time. Abbey Road from 1969 still sounds as pristine as it ever did. And that was an Abbey Road. So when I think of Abbey Road, I think of, studio perfection. And this album is not that. And the co-producer, Owen Morris, was criticized by the band's record label's owner. And this guy's name is Alan McGee. He owned Creation. The guy had a drug issue himself, but he visited when they were mixing this thing. And he said, quote, I used to go down to the studio and there was so much cocaine getting done at that point. Owen, the co-producer, was out of control and he was the one in charge of it. The music was just fucking loud. And Morris retorted and said, that guy had drug problems of his own. Why is he was the record label guy. He could have told me to turn it down. But it is funny because if you listen to this on certain headphones or whatever, it eventually starts hurting. I mean, and I'm not sensitive because I've been to a lot of concerts and I play in a band, and but man, there's a lot of treble on this thing.
Oh yeah,
and it can pierce.
I think that's we've talked about it. That's prevalent with Oasis in totality. You asked me a couple pods ago if there's any kind of exhaustion or fatigue after you're fully into Oasis album, and I think it's sort of an acquired thing of sorts. I mean, I don't really read it anymore because I know what I'm getting into when I put one of these albums on. I sort of want the noise to start and I don't want it to stop, right? And it's almost like no disrespect whatsoever to anything Oasis does, because there are certain songs that obviously hit you, and it's a more, trying to make up a word here, anthematic, so like an anthem style song.
Anthemic is what we live for.
But there's other songs that, like, you use the analogy like syrup, right? Where like sometimes your brain is just like, it's a fucking Super Bowl just bouncing around your head, and you don't know what's going on, but you're enjoying it, and at times you don't want it to end. That to me is what I gather from some of the other tracks that Oasis has that I enjoy as well. So, but yeah, man, I it's just peculiar. You look at the lining notes, you look at the cover, you sort of indulge the product at hand, and I think perfect time to get to tracks, but also just the reception, like the date on the front, the pool, the everything. It's just such it's such a presentation, and it's nowhere near the same cover, right? But I had this thought when I was looking at it that do you remember, and make sure I'm getting this right here, it was,
I love the album cover, by the way. I think it's my favorite Oasis album cover.
Do you remember the Little South of Sanity cover
with the guy in front of the gas station, right?
He's holding the pump. So there's some style of art there. I had a book too, and I tried to go to the garage and find it, that my grandma got for me. It, like, had this weird checker background and was a bunch of different fables or something inside. But nonetheless, to me, this is an album just like Little South of Sanity, in way of I could spend a couple hours looking at this album cover and picking out little details in the background that you may find, you may not. Sergeant Pepper, like just all the little tiny things, like an adventure. So I think this is one of my favorite Oasis album covers.
It's not for me. I love the photo. I love the Rolls Royce as a callback to Keith Moon.
Yeah,
driving his car in the pool. There's this great interview with Noel, and he's like, we were about to go on tour. We're like, what should the stage look like? And we were so off our gourd and like drugs that someone's like, well, what about like in the album cover, we have a red telephone booth. And he's like, yeah, great. And then what if, so just all the iconography from it. And they admittedly, they say it means nothing. There's nothing to read into this album cover other than the fact that they had about $1 million to do the actual fucking album cover. And that's what they came up with. But I don't know, man. Like, it is, I just respect the brashness of this whole thing, from the album cover with the Rolls Royce in the pool to it is just so purposely epic, the whole thing. And I know not all of it lands, but I think a good number of it lands. And I actually think, like fashion, what goes out of style comes back around. I think that this went out of style because the things like Radiohead that came up were anti Be Here Now. And now that we are 30 years removed almost, people are like, wait a second. That's actually like, maybe it's not definitely Maybe or Morning Glory, but is it, how far behind is it? And actually, I want to do this real quick. I mean, do you look at Oasis as the big two and everything else? Do you look at Oasis as the big three and everything else? Or is it like the big two and Be Here Now and then everything that came after?
I look at it as the big three. It's hard not to. And I think when we get to I want to give anything away, but the few tracks, I'll say a couple tracks that I believe will make it onto our live experience next week. The all-encompassing like greatest hits from the first 3 albums would include some of this.
Yeah.
And it would be still within the same era. It would be within that same breadth of like creativity. And I don't feel like they'd yet moved on to like a further chapter as a group. So you can sense it too. So moving forward, like next podcast and beyond, I think we'll be able to speak to what that chapter, what those guys, what their mindset was, what they were into. They were still within the first like wave of being blown away by what they'd accomplished, I think. And so it'd be hard not to lump this in with the other two. So
yeah, I'd agree with that. Well, let's get to it, shall we? Do you know what I mean? Which, of course, I mean, it's in basically every interview you'll ever hear with Nolan and Liam in their Mancunian accent. But do you know what I mean? Is the lead single and the lead track from this album. And hilariously, the lead single was over 7 minutes long. Starts with this really cool sound effect thing with the helicopter and all that, and the kind of radio beeps and backwards vocals, and clearly the kitchen sink is already being thrown into this album from track 1, from the first minute of track 1. But you peel away all the excess studio effects and all that. At the end of the day, it's a cool tune. It is total Noel Gallagher, because I think you know this, but I'll ask you. The chord progression is identical to what?
I don't know that.
Wonderwall.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, recycled that. Now,
wow.
The chorus, well, the pre-chorus, let's say, I'm from my maker, I made him cry. That changes a little bit. But for the most part, it's the Wonderwall chord progression over kind of like a cool shuffling beat. But I don't know, man. If a song could be good just based on attitude alone, this is one of them. I'm not going to say it's a masterpiece to the equivalent of like Supersonic or something, but what a lead-off track. What an announcement to the world that like, this is going to be big, guys. This 80-minute album is going to have it all. And to do it with just such a strutting kind of swagger, I think it's a cool opener, and it's good driving tune, man. Good driving song.
It's great. Yeah, it's a great driving tune. The video for it, I think, is what I remember the most. Do you remember the video?
I don't. So, I mean, you know what's weird is the only MTV Oasis stuff I do remember was the Wonderwall video and the All Around the World video, which is bonkers, like totally psychedelic stuff. But what was the video like?
Well, it has the helicopter in it. I don't want to botch the type of helicopter. It's not a Chinook. A Chinook is like the double.
I have zero knowledge on helicopters.
Yeah, but it's like the MASH one. You know, like do you remember the MASH helicopter?
Yeah, sure, okay.
So it's not like an Apache. It's not like one of the killer machines, but it's one of the ones that have like a gunner in the side, like you'd see in like Forrest Gump or something.
Yeah.
You know, Lamb is wearing his like signature green parka, and they're sort of in like a dilapidated area of somewhere on a building. So it's just like this, like the sheets match the drapes, so to speak, basically. Like, it's like when you listen to the song, you think, he's probably outdoors, and like the helicopters and all this, and you just get this essence of him maybe being in a street or on a building or something. It's exactly what it is. So it kind of matches the essence of the way the song is. And there's sort of this like power behind the song. Like, it's what I would think of for like a intro track to a movie or an outro, or, you know what I mean? It's just, it works in capacity with like it's got warmth and it's got like weight to it, a lot of weight. So
it does. You know what's so weird though is like if you listen to the mix in your car, the drums are mixed cool in that they sound like hip hop drums. So they got some distortion on them, or like analog quality, like they were run through a tape. But the kick drum itself isn't that low, and there's not, for a song that has hip hop kind of influences in the rhythm section, there's not as much bass, and that is a criticism Noel levies on this album. He's like, "Where's the fucking bass? To this day, I don't hear the bass. I must have been so coked up, I just missed it in the mix. So that I will say, I wish there were more kick, and I wish there were more bass, and I wish more the beat itself. But all that said, it's such a good groove anyway that it can overcome that. Is the video black and white? Because the single cover is.
It is not, no. And
Okay.
actually, funnily enough, this is also the first time in my life that I'd ever seen an orange amp.
Yeah, he used to play those a little bit.
Yeah, which the takeaway from that was this. I actually just share like a little screen grab of it, but you see that there? I'm sharing.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
So that's like,
that looks pretty epic, actually.
Dude, this is like, I don't even want to look at that. Like, they get out of the military helicopter, and then they're just flying around them as they're recording.
I'm just gonna try to add this to the stage and see what happens.
There you go.
Oh, look at that.
So it's just it's powerful, man. Like, so
let me see if I can't get this back as you talk. There we go. Oh, look at that. This is a multimedia presentation. Now, the B-side to this track, do you remember?
I don't.
Classic Oasis song. Beloved Oasis song. Stay Young. Also on the soundtrack for The Faculty, I think. If you ever, do you remember that movie in the whole
Usher?
The scary movie renaissance of the late 90s.
I just remember Usher being in it. Maybe Josh Hartnett. Was Josh Hartnett?
Jordana Brewster? Was she?
Yeah. Josh Hartnett. And then the guy from Terminator, right? He was like the coach or the principal or something.
Was Jon Stewart a teacher?
Jon Stewart.
From The Daily Show.
Maybe.
I think he was. But regardless, Stay Young.
The bad guy was the bad guy from Terminator, right? The cop.
Yes, Robert Patrick, T-1000. Yeah,
T-1000.
he was the bad guy. So Stay Young is the B-side. I'm going to ask you this straight off the bat. Well, okay, hold on. We'll do this when we go through all the tracks, but Stay Young, keep that song in mind if you were to substitute any song off for Stay Young. Because you agree Stay Young's a really fun tune, right?
Oh, yeah.
Classic. So you know what I mean? 7 minutes long, layered with shit. In 2016, Noel remixed it. And the idea was he was going to remix the entire album in a more bare bones kind of style. But he said himself, I did one track and I was bored. He didn't want to do it anymore. So the remixed version of Do You Know What I Mean is on Apple Music, on Spotify. It's in like the deluxe editions that be here now. But I'll take it as it is because I've listened to the remix version and you can maybe hear the strings more and you can hear individual parts. But I still think that overall this song pops. And as you said, it's like a table setter, like opening credits almost with a long intro and the groove. Yeah. Does it need a whole minute of feedback at the end? Probably not.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I can just hit the next button on my CD player as many people probably did back then after the first listen. Do you know what I mean? Do you have anything else to say about Do You Know What I Mean?
No, I do like that you brought up the minute of feedback, though. I think this was this was in an age though where it wasn't relying on vinyl, or I'm not going to say it was close to streaming at all. Wasn't in anybody's head, but like the ability to go forward and move around and maneuver through your music was definitely something that people were quickly picking up on. So I think stuff like that was just adding layers to like the artistry. It wasn't like there was no intent to like overdo it, if that makes sense. I think they were doing it in a way of like, we did think about like Real One or something. There's just space, and I think I think the space is what they were going for, to kind of make room for what this album ended up being. But I'm with you, man. It's just so peculiar because the first two were just so like, I'm gonna even call it more Beatles in fashion, like cut and dry, like start a track, end a track, start a track, end a track, without a whole lot of fluff. So to hear that on this, it was like, it's interesting.
Was there anything on the first two albums that the song hits the last chord and it just kind of drones or anything? I don't know if there was a single example of that.
No, maybe a few definitely a couple fade ins, but maybe a fade out. I don't know. Wonderwall, little fade out, but like not much, man.
With Champagne Supernova, even that gets to the end.
Yeah.
The guitar solo hits, and then they just fade it out with one more vocal. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. And then the water sounds. But okay, so we move on here to a song that I know we both just love the riff on, and it has spicy biscuit potential, especially in the Nebworth version. But My Big Mouth is a mammoth riff. It's almost like when Noel, I imagine the first time he played it was like, well, that's a big song, because it's such an immediate riff. And they play it so assuredly at Nebworth. It sounds like they've been playing it for years. I agree with you. I think the lyrics are amazing. I think Liam's vocal is incredible. It's a ridiculous studio cut of it. I mean, I put it on my car today. I'm driving home from work, and I almost audibly laughed because the intro is bananas.
Yeah.
And then the riff comes in, and it's not cut. It doesn't cut through the speakers like the Nebworth version. It just kind of swirls. And you know what happens, Ben? Here's the thing with studios when you layer guitars. You need to make sure that every guitar track you do is tonally different, because if they're too similar, it adds a phaser effect. I mean, you know, Matt, our buddy Matt, his favorite pedal is the phaser. What that's doing is essentially doubling up the sound and gives that whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Mm-hmm. There is a natural phase on this because Noel, in his probably coked out stupor, forgot that he had already laid down the Stratocaster through the orange amp and did it again and again and again. All that said, is this to look for in your top half of Be Here Now rankings?
It'll be interesting. Won't make any spoilers whatsoever, but I will say that it was surprising to me when I revisited it and I listened to it and then listened to it again, and then it was stuck in my head. I'm like, oh fuck. So yeah, I'll be eager to describe the landing point on this one, but there's a couple takeaways, man. Lyrically, wow, like there's just I think the third verse, my big mouth, chorus, my big mouth, my big name. Who will put on my shoes while they're walking slowly down the Hall of Fame? I did notice one callback to in the first opening run, which is it's keeping me from walking down the long and winding road. I was like, oh, is that a little?
Oh yeah, of course.
Is that a little love to the Beatles there?
It's not the only love to the. Hey, that and also in Be Here Now, he mentions Let It Be in the song Be Here Now.
Yeah. Yep.
So between that and Tomorrow Never Knows, and yeah, they love that.
And then hearing that it was, dude, I mean, you learn something every day, which is what I love about life. But you know, as I'm going through this, I never realized before this was recorded at Abbey Road. And then you realize these small little Easter eggs, and you're thinking they must have just been. I mean, regardless of all the shit that was going on, they must have enjoyed the being of existing and recording something in Abbey Road, and you know, throwing these little innuendos and stuff. So cool stuff.
Today they just announced they're doing a 9-episode Beatles anthology series on Disney, and they're releasing a 4th anthology compilation.
Wow.
What they have left, I don't know, but you know, I like Get Back. It's a long slog of a 9-hour documentary, but you know, but it also is what happens in a band. And I imagine, like, what we see, the frustration of the Beatles during the making of Let It Be and the boredom, to be honest, is that Oasis, I don't know if they were bored so much as they were too popular and too big and too rock and roll lifestyle to be bored. So therefore, because they're constantly like stimulated or occupied, they don't know when to leave well enough alone. And that's my only gripe about My Big Mouth, is that I listened to the Nebworth version, and I just wish a more raw version was on this album, because the thing is, there are some rock songs on this album coming up where it's pretty clean sound. Like, it sounds good.
Yeah.
I don't think this sounds great, but the riff is so undeniable that it's still enjoyable.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. That's what I typically struggle with. You open with "Do you know what I mean?" and it seems like it's been in their arsenal forever. when you hear My Big Mouth live, also sounds as if it's been in the arsenal forever. So you get to track 2 of the studio version, and I'm kind of like, I want whatever I just listened to in way of like the sonics from Do You Know What I Mean? And I'm not getting it from this studio track. And the unfortunate thing is those 2 tracks, like live, would be a powerhouse back-to-back duo to kick an album off. I just get kind of lost waiting for the thought of what's coming next whenever I hit it on the studio album. So without the knowledge of, Nebworth, or I guess you would have the knowledge of Nebworth if you were in on that back then, knowing, what was coming. It'd kind of be like Dave with, hearing some tracks that they release live and try them out, and then they aren't yet on a studio album. And then you get, thinking about, as we're working this out right now, Mike, it's making sense. Like, Idea of You studio track fucking blows. So like, but how many times, I don't ever get tired of it live, and never will, and never have. And we saw the first live version of it ever. So maybe that's the issue. Yeah. Maybe there's certain songs they know they can recreate live from the studio, and there's certain songs they just can't reenact in the studio that they play live. So
yeah, I'd agree with that. Well, let's see if we can't find a nice little palate cleanser. And by the way, the way we're going to kind of break down this album is pretend like it's, because on vinyl it's a double. So there's an A, B, and C, and a D. And the way it breaks down is really 3 tracks per side. So we'll call this the side A closer. And granted, all these songs are like 7 minutes long. Magic Pie. This is a weird song. I mean, on first glance, it's not, because like there's melodies and there's chord progressions that are very Beatles influenced, of course. But I was listening to it today to try to just get, wrap my head around it. And I keep looking with how much time is remaining in this song. And trust me, I'm not going to belabor this time thing. But with Magic Pie, I listened through the first full verse and chorus, and I look down, and there's still 5 minutes and 20 seconds left. I'm like, what the hell more could you possibly say in this song? Like, there's cool parts, and it sounds good. Noel sounds, but I don't know what it. Did you ever like this song?
Not tremendously, no. I don't have much to say about it, unfortunately.
I don't either. We can short on it if you want.
7 minutes, 20 seconds of just didn't. Yeah.
I'll say this. I got home, and I told you before we went on, I said, I've got me, I got my magic pie. I also, what my favorite part of the song is this. It's at the end of the chorus when he does a yeah. That's cool. And then there's like bam, 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 bam. Okay, that's all cool. Could have been done shorter. I think it's almost like a song that could have ended up being really good if it would have just been tightened up arrangement wise. But it's like I said, I get through the first part of it, and there's still 5.5 minutes left. I'm like, oh God, I know that this is not a complete loss of a song, but I don't like it enough to want to go through those other 5 minutes. I mean, I'd have to tune out and be a passive listener to just, I'd have to let this play in the background. I would not choose to play this if I ever put a Be Here Now CD in the player.
Right. Also, just for confirmation, are we saying that this would be a double vinyl LP?
I wanted to bring that up real quick. I have a theory that this is,
because I stabbed at it as side A ending at The Girl in the Dirty Shirt, and B starting at Fade In, Fade Out.
Let's do both, and we'll decide. We'll do side A versus side B.
Not that there would be a vinyl out there that could
fit all that.
Comprise 6 fucking
no, you're
tracks, but nonetheless, I was like, I just broke it in half. So
no, let's do both side A and B. We'll break it in half with 2 40-minute vinyl sides, and then we'll do an A B C D. If this were A B C D, this would be the 1 2 3 punch. Yeah. And I think we're like, man, 1's a punch, 2 is a messy punch, but it punches, and then 3 just kind of whatever. And we don't need to belabor Magic Pie. It seems, and without confirmation bias, it does seem like amongst a lot of Oasis fans, it's not held in that high regard. It's not bad. It's just a slog. It's a lot to get through. On we go to side B, or midway through side A. 2, Stand By Me. Is this a classic, men?
100% classic, dude. Made a meal and threw it up on Sunday.
What an opening line.
Fuck, dude.
That's so good.
This is one where if I was able to play 15 seconds of a song and only 15 seconds of a song to like my wife or somebody relatively unfamiliar with Oasis in total capacity, but I wanted them to feel most everything that I think Oasis has to offer, I would play them the first 15 to 20 seconds of Stand By Me. Like, you might be thinking, what about Wonderwall? There's a ton of songs that in totality would give them the essence of what they need to hear, but I think that like this just right off the bat, hook, line, and sinker. You've got the harmony, you've got the deep-seated lyrics of not sure really what they're getting at, but nonetheless, Oasis at its finest. So yeah, it's a classic. And the harmonies, I could go. I mean,
no, it's. I think the coolest Noel and Liam singing together. Though this and Slide Away, I think, are the best of those.
Slide Away, yeah.
Now,
dude, Noel's high note in this is like, it's boner inducing. I mean, it truly is. Like it's swing. Like
swing.
When they do it well, man, like, and they do it well on the album where I love Noel's voice. First of all, I'm just going to put it out there. Like I dig Noel's voice. I don't, I was definitely on Team Lamb growing up, and whenever the split happened and Noel went solo and would still perform Oasis songs, I was always kind of like, there was a Noel camp, there's a Liam camp. You knew that Noel was behind the writing and stuff, so you had to give him a nod. But I always preferred the Liam delivery on the parts he was supposed to sing. But in true form, whenever Noel is nailing backing vocals in a very uncouth way, like it doesn't sound like they should match.
You're right.
If you hear Noel separately and Liam separately, it's not something I would ever say, I'm going to put these together like fucking, I don't know, Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks. Like that to me seems obvious. This does not seem obvious. And then you hear them sing together and you're like, yeah, they're family and they're brilliant from a harmonic standpoint. And I always get this thought now at this age when I listen to them and their studio shit back that I'm like, I wish that they would have maybe gone off the beaten path and done some shit that would have been completely non-Oasis, just to test out how deep into the harmony shit they could get. Like, if you're at a party with these guys and they're your buddies, I'd be like, can you all please attempt a Buffalo Springfield or like a Crosby, Stills, and Nash? I just want to hear you guys deliver your harmonies, but like that, because they're so good at it.
Yeah, I think that it's a cool mix because Noel's voice is very. Liam's got the Johnny Rotten, John Lennon rasp, powerful thing, and Noel has kind of a lilting voice, and I don't mean in any sort of soft way. He still has some edge to him, but his voice, man, his range is much higher than what you're going to get from Liam. So it works well. I agree with that. And yes, look at this. Look at this picture you drew of Noel. Artiste. Do you have the doodle of the two of them in the same notebook?
Oh yeah. This
is impressive. I mean, that would be easy to scan and put on a shirt. That's so good. Yeah. Dude, it's like Noel looks like Charlie Brown kind of right there. They both look like Peanuts characters in that one. I love it.
Yeah.
So the cover of the single was, I believe, their parents. Peggy, who just went to her first shows in Dublin with Noel's daughter and her granddaughter.
Damn, no way.
Yeah, so she's Irish, so that's her homeland.
Peggy.
And their dad obviously was a total dick. But the picture on the album cover is of their mom and dad. Now, the reason, do you know why the opening line is what it is?
No.
Noel says that his mom would call when he moved to London, would call to check in on him. Have you been eating well? And he said, yeah, sure. Just what a kid would tell their parent. Yeah, I'm fine, mom. And he thought, man, I don't know. I should probably like try to make myself a proper Sunday roast. That's probably what I should do. And he did, but he messed it up and he gave himself food poisoning.
Oh shit.
Made a meal, threw it up on Sunday.
I've got a lot of things to learn. Damn.
But to start an earnest, listen, to start an earnest
fuck, man. Now I love this song even more, dude. Shit. Yeah.
To start an earnest love song with made a meal, threw it up on Sunday is so cool and original. And this is a song that has grown on me considerably. And I do think it's unequivocally a classic. I want to say something right now, but it would, I'll wait. I just hope that our friend Kenton gets to do the harmony on this one.
I think he will. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. It's there. Okay. It's not going to ruin anything, but I think nothing to do with my Spicy Biscuit or anything. But the two songs that I feel passionately about that we are going to hear in Chicago from this album and nothing more is "Do You Know What I Mean" and "Stand By Me." The other two question marks that I was toying with would have been "Don't Go Away" and "All Around the World," but I think I texted you this earlier. It's like going into a Dave show where like you're like, they could easily play like a Jimmy thing, but like,
sure, yeah.
Do I need it? No. And
do you need those songs?
Then you think in the total number of songs I think we're gonna get, doing my mental math on live shows, 18 to 22 if we're lucky. I don't want to hear "Don't Go Away" or "All Around the World" if I could hear something else.
I get it.
So. But "Stand By Me" would be a moment, man. Like, and I think it's funny because you just recently watched Supersonic.
Yeah.
You know the way Peggy like narrates.
Yeah, I love her voice.
She's a spitfire, dude. So I don't take the opening verse for Liam where it's like, "So what's the matter with you?" I think it's like a very Irish, like, "So what's the matter with you?"
Yes, I agree.
And it's like, "Sing me something new," because they're both her musicians' sons. Where it's like, So I don't know. It's just the essence of where this song is and what it means. As sort of a nod to Peggy is a cool way to look at it, and almost gives me a completely different perspective on this song.
Yeah,
so
it's really cool.
I do have a wish that this will be. I'm going to get him. If this gets played, I'm going to throw it out there right now. I don't even think Ken's going to have a chance to listen to this beforehand. Maybe he will, but his big, lumbering, short arm is going to swing around me and he's going to grab my neck and he's going to sing the shit out of this if they play this live.
That's the harmony I want to sing with him, damn it. Yeah. All right, we move on to I Hope I Think I Know, a song that I was kind of late to because, it's like buried in the middle of the album, and I would sometimes cut to the end of it, or I'd sometimes listen to the first few tracks. And this is how my big mouth should have been mixed. Like, this is a power pop rock song with a great riff and a driving beat, and I think Liam's best vocal on the album. I don't know if they oddly enough never played this live. They never played it live, but on the other hand, I can see why, because it's taxing for that voice of his to sing this song as hard as he does. But it's fun, man. This is, talk about a driving song. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It's like you bob your head to it, but this is like windows rolled down on a perfect summer day.
I don't know where this would fall. That's a whole different ballgame, is to try to paint a picture for where this would land in the set. But if this is played, even if it's song number 3 or 4, I think this is where my voice officially goes out on show day because I'll be trying to hit the Noel version of things. Mm-hmm. And that "Stand By Me," I'm going to lose it right there because I'm going to go way too high over the whole fucking Soldier Field crowd. I'm going to feel it go. So, dude, I'm never going to be happier to wake up on Friday morning with zero voice whatsoever.
No, you won't be able to
much,
speak
dude.
for a few days.
No.
And that's okay. That's fine, man. This is the gig to do it at. For people
I
that
don't
would
even-
like back-to-back nights, I don't know how they do it.
You know, I tried to sort of slow play our fandom for Zeppelin. You know, I think in what we do here in the pods, we obviously choose bands that we favor. I think one day, as we get further into the catalog, as a nod to our boys over at Blank Check, we want to do some stuff that we also don't enjoy, right? Just because, like, I think that's, you know, it is. But it's hard not to fanboy out right now. And I'm going to be unapologetic at the fact that I'm extremely excited. And this album, oddly enough, man, like, I guess to consume what we're going through right now in this specific track, the first two are just so cemented that it's like, yeah, you know what you're getting when you go in. And I listen to them so often. I go through my ebbs and flows throughout the years where I throw on certain albums just like you do, you know, and Oasis isn't the normal carousel. When I threw this album on, like I told you in the beginning of the podcast, I hadn't visited in a long time. And for some reason, even though I've only got 2 tracks that I feel we're going to hear live, it's sort of like put this last bit of like turbo power behind me. Where
yeah,
like,
for me
now
too.
I'm really fucking ready, dude. I don't know
why?
what yeah.
Because I picture us maybe this album more than the first two because they're so ubiquitous. Listening to this at the hotel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like because and also it's like less spoilerific because I think even Kenton, who is 110% no Oasis, is going to realize, well, like we aren't going to get a whole lot of Be Here Now, but it maintains all the Oasis things that make us excited about this gig with some embellishments. Mm-hmm. But it's just and also it goes for a while, so it's good for like 2 drinks worth for sure.
Yeah, and I gotta say too that when you really look at this album, from the overall track listing aspect, unlike albums of the past, and then also even, you know, a lot of Zeppelin, every track has some length to it.
Yeah.
We talk about that out on the tiles. There's just songs that are too bloody short. You want them to go longer. Some are not meant for that. You know, there's some songs on this track like Magic Pie. There's no need for 7 minutes and 20 seconds of that.
But I hope I think I know is that one that could have went longer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so good.
So anyway, yeah, Stand By Me. I'm hoping that we do the live reaction pod post show, and you know, we can really revisit some of these things as they come in. But that's one that I think we'll get, man. And that was one that for me, when this album came out, I think I bought this album at Hastings in Country Fair Center. I was 11, so I was fully riding my bike around the hood, and I think we talked about this today in the group thread. So like, I had certain boundaries I could hit. You know, I could cross Mattis Avenue, I could cross Springfield, I could cross Church, I could cross University, and I could make it all the way down to is Prospect, the first big cross street right up the block from you.
Yeah.
Prospect. So I could go all the way up to Prospect, so not quite like to Central. That was like my fucking route. So I could go all the way through Round Barn Center. I could go all the way through County Fair shops and shit. And Hastings was right there, like little corner shop. I think Goldie's is there now, or like right next to where it was. I went over there, and we've talked about these before, but those CD risers where they could stick them in the old vinyl,
the old long boxes,
long boxes. And I remember going through, you know, and you'd go alphabetical through like the rock and roll section, and I realized they had a new Oasis album, and I was like, oh. And I would always have like a $20 bill. That's what I got back then for allowance for mowing the lawn and shit. And it was like $11.99. I was like, done, got it, rode home, unwrapped it. For Christmas in my stocking, I had one of those plastic like CD swipers where it would allow you to open the plastic off without ruining the jewel, and opened it up and pressed play, and on we went. And I remember getting to this track, and I was like, holy fuck, like, yeah, man, like I fell in love with it. And it is a love song, and I think this was one of the takeaways for me that was like, I'm getting personally, I think, the effects that everybody else got from the first two albums that I didn't get live because I wasn't yet an Oasis fan.
You know what just happened there? It kind of blows me. I like started transition to I hope I think I know, and I'm like, oh shit, he's still on about Stand By Me.
Oh shit, sorry. Fuck. There we go.
Fuck, he loves that song.
No, sorry about that. I thought we were still trailing.
No, we can. I mean, here's the thing. Let's wrap up what the proverbial side B.
Yeah,
or side A if we're doing just halvesies here. But so I hope I think I know. I think the 1-2 punch in the album that's most classic Oasis is Stand By Me. I hope I think I know. I think that 1-2 punch is like the best of their balladry and the best of like Oasis can just give you a good driving rock song. And Liam's vocal in this one blows me away. And it's like I think that I mentioned earlier, you mentioned Out on the Tiles, and I think you were still in Stand By Me mode. I think that I hope I think I know could go longer. I just love the riff, and it's a tight little 4-minute song, which is like, it feels oddly short based on what's around it. But then I think, wait a sec, I wouldn't change a thing. And to me, it kind of reminds me of You and Yourself in that driving pop rock kind of riff. And that's a song that we wrote way back in the day. And it's just ear candy.
Yep.
But I think this one is a summer day, windows down, driving down, belting it out with Liam. It's fun. It's such a fun song.
This fits in right with that category of that I mentioned, where at this point you're just hook, line, and sinker, and you're cruising, and it's Oasis, and that's that, man. Yeah,
Yep.
I guess I was bleeding through.
No, you're fine.
At one time, but is what it is. You're like, wow, no,
Jesus Christ,
shit. Well, it's all just shit to throw you off the scent of my spicy biscuit. And for the record, I had The Girl in the Dirty Shirt as the last track on A. I know that the reprise is the reprise. It is what it is, but it's still 6 and 6. So
if we did side A, B, this would end side A. Okay. If we did A, B, C, D, this would end side B. So regardless of the closer. But, it's funny because I know that Nate, our friend, loves this song. And it's unusual for Oasis, like instrumentally. I think it's got this really cool electric piano kind of jamming on it. Like at the end, it sounds like Billy Preston is in the studio with him, just kind of going to town. I like this song a lot. Maybe it shouldn't be 5.5 minutes, but like, I think it has some of the coolest like chord progressions. What is my favorite part? It's let's call it the pre-chorus. You got another deep inside you, just won't let you go. So Beatles, but so cool. So to me, if we were to go like gems that are not Oasis like all-time classics, certainly not going to be played live, I think this would be like Odds and Sods collection. You're giving someone, hey, here's a deeper dive into Oasis things that you wouldn't expect to hear. I'd put it on there because I think that this is just a cool, well-written song. And I just like how different it is compared to the rest of this album and most of what they've done so far.
Yeah, I was just I was just giving a quick once-over right in the spot that you mentioned.
What, the lyrics?
The song, giving a listen.
Do you have you got a feeling deep inside you? What are those lyrics in that pre-chorus?
One moment. Sorry, just had them pulled up. But yeah, no, it's a fun song. It's just one that it falls in this murkiness for Oasis.
You're right. There's the mid-album murkiness.
That it didn't quite escape like that for me. But what? All right. So you're talking about which portion?
Ah, boy. Okay. So it's it's before the chorus. So it's like, you got a feeling deep inside you, just can't let you go. The funny thing about a lot of Oasis songs that I don't know,
you got a feeling lost inside it. You just won't. just won't let you go.
Yeah, it's
Your
not like
life is
yeah. Go
your
ahead.
life
Sorry.
is sneaking up behind. It just won't let you go. No,
Yeah.
it just won't let you go. What I'm trying to say
What I'm trying to say
is,
is,
would you
if you
maybe
may,
come dance with me? Yeah, I mean, it's dude, it's
girl who's got that dirty shirt, she knows exactly what she's worth to me. Yeah,
You
to
know
me,
what's funny? You know what's funny is
fun.
I knew completely off the record going into this that you would love this song
Yeah.
more because of the message behind it. Like it takes me to exactly a place that is like your shit, dude. It's like a little dirty button down, little
Oh,
love song, little love ditty, you know.
yeah.
And
I
and I
think that
was like,
literally, like, there was a memory of a girl with a dirty shirt, and that, and maybe there is.
well, there is in my head, but this is not the place at the time.
Oh shit!
Take that. We'll take that one off air. But
Nah,
yeah,
it's
no,
fine.
it's. But I knew I was like, this is right up Schmiggy's alley. So
Well, it's just, you know what? It's got this sort of like rugged charm to it. Like, unlike a lot of the stuff on this album, at least this song is not overstepping, and it's not trying to be too much. It's
right.
not. It's like a simple song, and I'm telling you, man, the electric piano jam at the end is like, woo! I don't know who that guy is, but he can wail on them keys.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we flip sides if it's A B or A B C D, and fade in out is this still part of the mid-album murkiness for you?
You know what's funny? This to me had this like
Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi vibe to it.
holy shit! I was literally just about to
Yes,
say Bon
it does.
Jovi, dude.
Yeah.
It's got like this. It could be on the fucking docks of a Alaskan crab ship style fucking shit. It's like it is very very Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Which I think
like
is
it.
I think it's cool, man. Like it's got. We're talking about another 7-minute song though, and they've got. I think they've got a djembe in here, dude. They've got some fucking bongos. There's just a whole lot going on with this song that's like, there's not even much of a lyrical takeaway for me or like a hook that keeps me wanting to visit it. But when I do, and when I give it a listen all the way through, I'm kind of like, part of you, like later on in the shower, or whatever, you hear, you sense yourself like humming it. And you're like, whoa, wait, what? And it's because it's part of that gray murkiness. So, because of the essence of what's happening coming up, seeing them live and stuff, I think it's great that we're able to revisit these. We're doing this podcast, which is also great that we're revisiting these. But I'll be interested to hear, like, when I get back home and I start to put some of these on. Perfect time of year, by the way. I mean, like bleeding into fall football season stuff. We always have people over. We always have music in the background. So I'm going to spin like most of the albums that we've covered, and then the one that we will be covering next in settings of like football Saturdays and stuff. And I'll be interested to see where these gray, murky tracks that have existed so long will end up fitting in my adult peripheral, because I'm also thinking, man, like I used to attack albums back in the day, pre-social media and shit. I wanted stuff that I could like healthily talk about at school or with people that would bring up a band that, we'd get kindred on, like, oh shit, you like Oasis too? Like, I love these things. And you'd always try to go for some of the deeper cuts.
Sure.
Fade In Out was not one that I would have pulled out of my repertoire to be like, man, have you listened to all 7 minutes of Fade In and Out? No. So,
but I will say the live version from that tour, and I got a story about Nate and kind of introducing me to this side of the band. But at GMEX 97, which is the Manchester Arena, they do an fully electric version of this live, and it does kick ass. I think that the opening acoustic is just, it takes me to Wanted Dead or Alive. There's cool stuff with this song. I think there is, talk about the mid-album murkiness, the fatigue factor in early listens of this album settled in for me around here. And then I gotta say, it kind of goes away with Don't Go Away. I think that now we're back to like a tight song. And I don't know your thoughts on this compared to Stand By Me. Early on when I listened to this album, I thought they were kind of one and the same. They're the two ballads on the album, and they're both relatively short compared to other tracks on it. But This one is about their mom had a health scare and don't go away, don't die, you know? So like the simplicity of it and the earnestness with which Liam sings it and that Noel wrote it, I think is pretty touching. I don't know if it's one that I would put up there with their A tier, but I do think that it's not far behind if it isn't. Like I know it sounds like a standard ballad, but I think it's
The
pretty
opening
spot on.
the opening guitar lick is unmistakable,
Mhm.
right? I remember this so vividly, dude. What a callback here. So, there's moments in time where you remember something. You do it all the time, and we're used to it. It's like you can recall like an Illinois game that you saw when you were 8. No big deal. I specifically remember this song live on Jay Leno. It had to be in like 98 or 99 or something. But I remember watching Jay Leno and seeing that Oasis was going to play and listen to it. And it's like the opening riff when Noel hits it, it's like, all right. And yeah, I mean, I think this is up there. This is one of the other 2 songs that I could be okay not hearing live at Soldier Field, but I figured I would put as a question mark, which was not a star, like Do You Know What I Mean or Stand By Me, but it was Don't Go Away and All Around the World, like I said. So it wouldn't surprise me if we heard this, but I would also say I'd be okay without it. Live.
Noel's such a good songwriter because it's the parts that are not obvious that he puts in the song. So like the verse is pretty obvious. I think the pre-chorus, wouldn't want to be there when you and hanging around. Is it hanging around? Wouldn't want to be there when you hit the ground.
Yep.
Great pre-chorus. Obviously the chorus is great, but it's after the second chorus. You and me, what's going on? Like the little guitar solo and the calm response with Liam's vocal, if you want to call that the bridge, I guess. And it goes back into one final chorus. I think that's great song. Like it keeps it from being too formulaic. And I think the credit to this song is that I never sat down and listened to this thing. And then last year I got into Oasis and I'm like, through osmosis or 1071 or you guys or whatever, I knew the song.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what that is sometimes with Oasis, do you ever find yourself as you revisit it, you haven't listened to it in a while, but like the lyrics seem to naturally go from one line to the next, and you can kind of predictively guess what the next lyric will be or the next rhyme will be?
I was just about to say, like with this song specifically too, they're such good storytellers. So in the essence of a good song or a movie, right, you start to sort of immerse yourself in the story itself, and then you have this predictive nature, whether it's like true or not, like it could be wrong, but yeah, I mean it happens, and it's melodically also adds to it because like Cold and Frosty Morning, not a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's such a fuck yeah, dude. Like it's not even a happy song, but it's one of those unhappy songs that was from a deep place for them that I took as a happy thing for me because it was one of the ones that Nate had showed me over the years. Nate drove this 2-door Honda Civic back in the day. Trunk smelled like ass because it had all his lacrosse equipment at all times. Sure. And but he was like 1 year above us in high school, and he was an implant from New Hampshire, and just a guy that you wanted to surround yourself with. And he always had an Oasis CD on cue in the whip. So this is just one that always brings me right back there to like summer 04, and getting into as much shenanigans as we possibly can. And it brings back great memories for me, like summertime memories, spring memories, lacrosse memories. And then you get to this side of the spectrum of an adult and you're like, yeah, it still hits home. So,
you know what I like about this song is that, and a lot of their ballads or sad songs, so to speak, is that you hit on something there that they don't necessarily make you sad. Like, in other words, this is going to sound potentially cheesy, but like through the melody or through the chord, changes. It's like they're saying, kind of, Noel, because I know he's the guy that was like, anti Kurt Cobain, I'm going to kill myself. He's like, no, every day is a gift, So like Noel, in a weird way, is sort of like a, carpe diem, live for the day, despite all of his bluster and the things he'll say during the press. He really does love life. So to me, a song like this, it's sad, but on the other hand, what is it sad about? It's like, I don't want you to die. Like, live, So it all stems back to that, where even their ballads or sad songs, so to speak, are not, they don't make the listener sad. You want to sing along to it. And this is one that sets the tone immediately. Cold and snowy. What is it? Cold and rainy morning?
Cold and frosty morning.
Cold and frosty morning. I mean, because here's what I was going to say to you. Stand By Me, despite being a ballad, sounds like a summer anthem. And this sounds like he wrote it on a rainy day looking out his window in London.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that when you can kind of get a time and place,
Indeed.
We move on to the title track, Be Here Now. I got a quick story about this one because last year when Nate was in town, he and you and Keith came up for the football game. That Thursday night, Nate, Danny, Kenton came over, Kyle as well, and we threw on GMX 97, which is the Manchester show for the Be Here Now tour. And it's bananas. I mean, like there's this British phone booth, and there's like, have you ever seen the video of this, the start of it?
No.
British phone booth. This is how they came on the Be Here Now tour. And there's like a bellhop, and he comes out and he does a little dance, and the crowd's going nuts. And then he opens the phone booth door, and out comes Oasis. That's their entrance. But they open with Be Here Now. And I did not know that song. I'd never listened to it. And within 24 hours, I'm walking, and it was actually that Saturday when we're walking to Huber's. In my mind, I'm going, it's like, okay, well, that's an earworm. That's in there. And because of Nate's introduction to this era of the band, and Be Here Now being the first song that I heard from it, it was like indelible. Like I listened to that before I really tried the whole album. And I was like, that's a really cool rock song. That's got swagger. And it just took me back to that moment in the garage with the cigar and Nate saying, hey, let me put on this show. Not Main Road 95, not Nebworth 96. No, Be Here Now tour in their hometown. And it starts at Be Here Now.
Interesting. Yeah, I just pulled it up right here. I'm actually sharing it with you. There he comes.
It's just a bananas intro.
Jesus.
I'm gonna see.
Oh, this is cool. Yeah, I mean, it's perfect for the kickoff of a live show, but we're talking like track 9, right? On the album.
God, man. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's really cool. Okay, so you mentioned track 9 in the album, though. So, like, for you, is it ill-placed?
I think it's ill-placed, and I'm going to say this, man. I don't know if it was meant for this album, despite even the album being titled Be Here Now. Like,
interesting.
I just don't and have never felt like it fits with everything else, man. It was getting dangerously close to my thought in, like, when I heard it for the first time, I was like rehashing what album it was on, and I thought this was like even pushed a little bit later into their catalog. So it's
really
just,
so like you thought it could have been off like Heathen Chemistry or something.
Completely unbeknownst, because obviously it's called Be Here Now, but there are title tracks of things that have been on other albums, as we know, through the Zeppelin journey and shit. So it's just one of those things that to me is a bit misplaced. I wouldn't replace Do You Know What I Mean as the opening track either. So I'm not saying that this should kick off the album, but I'm almost thinking if this was like even 2 tracks above,
Okay,
like if it's coming off The Girl in the Dirty Shirt, I don't know. I'm getting nitpicky here, but it's just a peculiar peculiar spot for me.
You know what it is? Because I thought about this. There are, let's call them 4 riff rockers on the album. My Big Mouth, I Hope I Think I Know, Be Here Now, and It's Getting Better, Man. Right? So those are the riff rockers. So like in the track listing, they purposely space things out. They spaced out the ballads. They spaced out the mid tempos, kind of like you would in a set list. And that's all fine and good. But I understand what you're saying. I always viewed this, or since I got to know the album as a whole, it's the beginning of the home stretch. Like we're wrapping this thing up. Now, I know that Be Here Now technically is the end of side C. So if you have the double vinyl, you'd have to flip it over for the next one. However, on the CD, it goes seamlessly into what I think, despite it not being the closer, is technically the closer. I view It's Getting Better, Man as the encore. And All Around the World is when the house lights are up and you're listening to an orchestral thing as you're walking out of the arena. So to me, Be Here Now is, okay, guys, victory lap. Here we go.
I like it.
If you viewed it through that frame, does that change it, or is it's probably hard once you've listened to an album enough to reframe where you've kind of placed a track?
I think it's fairly placed for me. I mean, I just in terms of our rankings, is that what you're asking?
Yeah. You're like, does that sweeten the deal anymore? Or is it more like, nah, the song is what it is?
It does, and I don't dislike it. I'll preface. I think I think it'll be, my reception here will probably be surprising whenever we get to the track rankings, but I don't dislike it, and I don't like have this innate thirst for it either.
I get it.
So it just kind of exists, and yeah, I mean, it's a fun song. I enjoy it when it's on, but I don't like, it doesn't call for me.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the 9-minute opus that is All Around the World for us American folk. This is AT&T theme song. All the commercials in the late 90s, early 2000s. Many people's only exposure to Oasis was the AT&T commercials. But can I just get this out of the way? Like, I don't give a shit how long this song is. I am pro All Around the World. And I say it like that because I know from the Oasis subreddit and from Oasis forums, this is a controversial song of sorts. It is either loved or it is hated. And it doesn't seem like there's many people who just say, I like All Around the World. I am pro All Around the World.
I am too. Like I said, it was in the 4 that I presume Chicago. It's in the 2 that I presume will not be at Chicago. But it's got that.
It's Hey Jude on steroids. It's the attempt to do that.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that.
It's got the bounce, just the fun Oasis atmosphere that you get.
It's fun. It's a fun song,
and it's also I'm going to botch this again, but anthemic, and I'll get that right after this.
Asthmatic.
I can go around. Hopefully not. No. But it's a singer,
It is. Yeah, it is. So, and here's what it is. Again, back to this idea that Noel, yes, he writes great choruses. He writes great verses. But I know we've had this discussion in the chat thread, and probably multiple times. You could probably pull it up when we're done here, as you do with many things I say in the chat thread. But it's the pre-chorus.
Ew. Shots fired.
It's the pre-chorus, dude. It's the take me away, because I just don't want to say. Okay, that pre-chorus is fucking great. And I know the chorus, yes, you hear All Around the World a million times, and the na-na-nas, and the Please Don't Cry, Never Say Die. That goes on for 6 minutes. But the 2 pre-choruses are the best parts of the song. And it's... Noel wrote this in the early 90s. They held on to it. Cool. I get it. I'm glad they did. I'm glad they waited until they could do the 9.5-minute version with key changes. Like, basically, back to Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer has one key change, and that's the shit that brings down the house at the bar at 1 a.m. I don't like Bon Jovi, but credit to them, it was a good move. This has 2 of those key changes. It's ridiculous, but I love that they went for how big it is, and I think they pulled it off. I do.
They pulled it off. It's big. It's powerful. It's heavy. It's I don't even get the AT&T shit from it. I don't. That's not my callback. It's not like a Rock by Bob Seger, you know. So
it's not to that extent, but I think because you had exposure to the album, I think my first exposure to the song was AT&T. So like I just always lump it up with All Around the World, and I can see that blue AT&T logo like flying into the middle of the screen as that's singing on top of it. But okay, so All Around the World, it goes on and on and on and on, and then it fades out, and then it's getting better, man, which they also played at Nebworth, and I don't know what to think of this one. I should like it more than I do, I feel like, but I don't. Does that make sense?
It does, because I sort of feel I lump this one somewhere in the realm of Be Here Now for me. It's fun. It's got great chord progression, and
it doesn't go anywhere.
It just it sort of just loops on me, and it's not one that calls to my heartstrings. So
we don't need to spend any more time on it. We got the reprise. We are not going to rank the reprise, by the way. It's like not. It's 2 minutes, so it's not just a snippet, but it's not really an Oasis song more than it is an orchestral reprise.
Okay, fair enough. So my Dustiest Crumpet will move. Spoiler alert.
Oh, was that your Dustiest Crumpet?
I mean, it just like
we just
audibly. So scratch.
No, yeah, scratch. About the reprise.
Horse is scratched.
Real quick, before we get into it, the reception when this album came out was like it was massive, critically, commercially, and maybe within 6 months. I mean, I don't know how long it took, where people finally just kind of said, "Wait a second, this is not Definitely Maybe. It's not Morning Glory. It's a mess in some ways." And I think those are all fair criticisms. I don't think it'll ever be critically reappraised to some like all-time classic 10 out of 10. But I just think that a lot of people, and myself included, just appreciate it for what it is. It's imperfect, it's big, it's bloated, but I don't know if I would change that. Like, I can listen to Live My Big Mouth if I really want that. I can also listen to this studio version and kind of laugh at it. And I think as a time capsule of 1997 Oasis, you wouldn't want to change a thing. This is them.
Yeah, it's important. And really anything else to try to mirror what came before it or what would come after it wouldn't have, I think, been a reception that people were ready for.
Yeah.
So what's the story of Morning Glory is, the weird thing is I mean, I feel pretty strongly Oasis is the one band that I've always had this strange feeling for in terms of the way that things were released because of the way I was brought to Oasis. So I caught up with them during What's the Story of Morning Glory. In my head, I had no knowledge of where things fell in terms of release until Be Here Now. But with that said, back when I was younger and less intrigued by figuring out when things were released and when things came out, I was just consuming as much as humanly possible.
Sure.
I wasn't on the Wikipedia and doing all that stuff, like in terms of research on release dates and looking at, I guess, pre-Wikipedia, looking at album jewels and dates. This album to me read like one that could have been like within their first wave of music.
Yeah.
And then came Definitely Maybe, and then came, What's the Story of Morning Glory. The beauty behind Oasis is I think that they leave the era behind when they're done with the album. So like, I enjoy that. My favorite bands historically, Incubus, Dave, Foo Fighters, Zeppelin, Oasis, Deftones, and that's a very short list amongst many, many others, is that they all go for it. album by album, and they're not trying to recreate the wheel for what worked before. And it's taking a leap of faith, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And with the wrong fan base, it can sour. But dude, I'll like revisit Stand Up now, right? Or Big Whiskey, and I'm like, oh, the studio version of those things, I get into it because I'm like, it was now a place and time for me that wasn't my reception then, because I was waiting for a recreation of what I'd already known, you know. So
I think this is both trying to capture what made them big, but to their credit, they were trying some new things and they were going for broke. It's like
I think they used
the biggest album.
Yeah, I think they used the chemistry, okay, but the algorithms, if you will, that they used before to try to maybe get back to basics.
Mhm.
You know, like we're gonna do this with the captain, the guy who's gonna bring everything to the table, and we're gonna execute. But there's still just more. There's essences of different things going on, and I probably will visit this now just as much as I do the others. Like you said, I mean, in the hotel on Wednesday, we're probably going to be rocking this out, and I'm okay with that. So
I think in the same way that I've over the years, and I think Led Zeppelin 3 is a better album, but like I revisit that more than 4 and 2, despite those kind of being like a definitely maybe Morning Glory. I kind of go to the weird one that is popular, but not as. All right. Categories. Do we get into it?
let's go.
All right. Spiciest, Biscuit, Dustiest, Crumpet, all these categories. For those that have never listened before, what we do is award certain things from this album. That would begin with Killer Line, which is a mix of both lyric and delivery from Liam. Lyrics from Noel, delivery from Liam. We also have alternative album title. If it weren't called Be Here Now, what could it be called? We have MVP of the album. So which band member deserves the MVP? We have side A or side B, and we'll also do side A, B, C, or D since this is a double vinyl. And then we will end with our song rankings. But I think actually what we did last week, song rankings first, then we did the side A, side B.
That's right.
Yeah, that worked out well. So who does Killer Line first?
I think I go first this week.
That's good because I got to pull up my Google Doc here. So you go ahead and get us started. Killer Line, the best lyric / delivery on this album.
Give me one moment, okay?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead if you're ready.
All right, I can. I've been kicking up a storm from the day that I was born. It's from the title track. It's a little bit of, maybe more the delivery than the lyric, because the lyric by itself could be considered a cliche kind of rock and roll thing. But in the same way that I picked, I got to be myself, I can't be no one else. I think what Oasis captured so well is like, okay, what is the essence of rock and roll? And that is like raising hell and being myself and being unapologetic. So I've been kicking up a storm from the day that I was born, sung from Liam Gallagher in 1997 at the height of their powers, to me is basically, Oasis in a nutshell. Help, I'm in a nutshell. Like, I think that is pretty much wrapping up where they were at the time, the lyric from the older brother and the excellent delivery from the younger, even more swaggering younger brother. So that one stood out to me. Also, it was really kind of the first exposure I had of this album because Nate showed me that show with Be Here Now. And I remember when they go to the, I guess let's call it the chorus, but it's not really. That song doesn't really have a chorus. And that chord change, everything worked at that moment for me. So that's why I went with.
I love it.
You said you have one that kind of makes you laugh?
I don't know if I mentioned laugh.
Okay, but one that from the minute you heard it way back.
Oh, yeah. Like not laugh at a haha, like
laugh that you remembered it for all the time.
Yeah. One that was like I don't know, there's a few Metallica songs when I was young that were like good Lord. Like as a kid, you're just like looking for any reason to grow up a little faster, you know?
Sure, yeah.
And this was one that was like, God damn, what are they getting at? But
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Made a meal, threw it up on Sunday.
Close. No. I met my maker. I made him cry.
Oh, okay.
And I
That's
was
a
like,
great line. That's a great line.
it's a great line, but also knowing now what you didn't know necessarily back then is like, is that a God reference? Is it a dad reference? Is it
It's
both?
dad. Has to be dad.
Both though, right? Like
It could be, but that's the beauty. It could be both.
yeah, but they probably thought everyone and their mom is going to think we're talking about God, but we're talking about just dad, you know?
That the genesis of that story with the dad, as they told in Supersonic, is they have a post-show party at a hotel.
Yes.
And dad shows up, and I think Liam's ready to kick his ass, and Noel says, "Don't do it." So yeah, I met my maker. I made him cry.
Yeah.
Talk about taking your dad down a peg. I mean, that's a cool lyric, and of course, delivered perfectly from Liam. Next category here is alternative album title. What do you got?
I didn't know which sounded better or which would work, but we're talking about album cover. We're talking about lyrical delivery on almost everything, and just how beautifully pompous everything was. From Abbey Road to the sunken Rolls Royce to again all the lyrics, even like, you know, I met my maker, I made him cry. I had two versions of the same thing, so I'll let you give me your vote on which one you would prefer. Humbly arrogant, or humble arrogance.
Humbly arrogant. Yeah, I also like any sort of juxtaposition of two different things.
Yeah, the oxymoron, it kind of plays on definitely maybe, but gets away from Be Here Now. And I to this day, man, like I've known this album since I was 11. I think I disagree with the title of the album. I've never liked it. I've never gravitated towards it.
Really?
Not that I dislike the track either. Not saying that. But they were clearly like landed by this point and shit. So if they were stating their claim on like we're here or whatever it would have been at that point, I think there could have been a little more oomph behind the naming credential, but who knows?
That's fair. I'll be honest. I looked at my document. I thought I had written one down, but I didn't.
Oh man!
And I love the title "Be Here Now" because of where it comes from, which is I think it was a George Harrison thing, and it was like a kind of new age mystical thing that the Beatles were into. So it's kind of bullshit. I mean, but excess, debauchery, the Rolls Royce in the pool. What would be a word to encapsulate all of that? Decadence with the CE.
Yeah.
Could we just call it mad for it? I mean, like that they were also a little bit loopy during this, and that's sort of like the thing that Liam has always said. You're kind of branding yourself a little bit. Or if I were to go with like a title track that's not "Be Here Now," what would be the title track? I mean, All Around the World is not an encapsulation of the album. It's kind of a one-off. It's like, here's our psychedelic epic.
Right.
I think Do You Know What I Mean would be the title track if it weren't Be Here Now.
Dude, I think that, like, Do You Know What I Mean with a question mark would be even better set than almost anything.
That's it. With the question mark to differentiate it from the non-question mark.
Right.
Okay. Can I use that?
Yeah, go ahead. That's yours. So, but the humble part of my title, by the way, was more so the fact that they still had stuff inside, like Stand By Me. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like deep, meaningful, thoughtful songs that are also intertwined within this like powerful, we know exactly who we are and that we're the biggest band on the fucking planet type of deal. So yeah, but Do You Know What I Mean? Question mark would have fit the profile to me with definitely maybe, and What's the Story, Morning Glory with the question. I think it would have been like almost a mix between the two, and it would have just made perfect sense. So
I like
there you
that.
go. You're welcome.
The assist. MVP. I'm going Liam.
Liam. Yeah, we don't
You
spend much
agree?
time on that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Liam.
You had Liam last week as well.
I did. It look, Noel is probably the glue that kept this album even close to being together. So can't take that away. But this is the argument. This is the Jimmy Page argument. Like, am I going to completely and always give the nod to Noel? And it just dawned on me. There's a small possibility we could also give the nod to any of the other bandmates.
Yeah, that did that.
But in this respect, it's almost impossible. That said, it's sort of the Jimmy Page complex where, like, yeah, he's the mastermind behind almost everything. But, like, when you take a look at this album from face value, there are deliveries to almost every song. Like, Do You Know What I Mean would not be close to what it is if it wasn't Liam Gallagher
100%.
delivering the lyrics. So I had to give him the nod. And then, throughout, man, it's just a very powerful Liam album where it's just hitting my yolks, my taste buds that let's just call it, like, if they would have broken up pre this album and all these tracks existed as is, but it was Noel delivering them,
It'd be the same.
I don't believe I would like this album. Nothing against what Noel would have produced or what would have come out of it. It's just some of these hit just right because of the recipe of the both of them and then the Liam delivery. So they have a recipe that works. So I gave it to him.
All right. Let's rank them.
All right.
Predictions, though, as to what the other will do.
I think you went first last time on this predictions. So I will go ahead and take my first stab.
Okay.
I believe that your dustiest crumpet is Magic Pie.
Okay.
And your spiciest biscuit is Do You Know What I Mean?
Okay. I believe your spiciest biscuit is Stand By Me.
Okay.
For fuck's sake. And then your dustiest crumpet. I mean, Magic Pie is going to be low, but just for the sake of differentiation, I'm going to go throw in a wrinkle and say it's Getting Better, Man.
Okay.
But who lists the songs first this week?
I think you went first last time.
Okay, so you start with your dustiest crumpet. Is it Magic Pie? What
Magic Pie.
Oh, okay. Can I just divulge this right now?
Yeah.
Mine too.
Okay.
It's whatever.
Number 10. The Girl in the Dirty Shirt.
Okay, one sec here. I'm just jotting these down. So, okay, MP, Girl in the Dirty Shirt. Wow, number 10.
Number 9. It's Getting Better, Man. Number 8. I Hope I Think I Know.
Ouch.
Number 7. Fade In, Out.
Okay.
Number 6. My Big Mouth. So this is the cool part. As I was going through this, My Big Mouth originally was much lower than all that, right? Like, I was going through it and I was like, man, this is way low. And then in like the 11th hour, I'd listened to Debworth and I was like, hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I fucking gave it a run and I was like, God damn. And like, I literally have Fading Out crossed out in My Big Mouth.
Okay.
So it made a quick jump. Number 5, Be Here Now.
Okay.
Number 4, All Around the World. Number 3, Don't Go Away. Number 2, Stand By Me.
Do You Know What I Mean with the win?
Number 1, Do You Know What I Mean? And I have to be transparent here. When I ranked these, my final ranking this morning after coffee, 7:30 in the morning, I wrote, and just for proof here, I wrote a little turny arrow thingy with my star next to Stand By Me.
Yeah.
But I took a pregame shower, and I could not stop singing Do You Know What I Mean? And I realized I was like, I can't give this nod for Spiciest Biscuit to the anthem that is Stand By Me. I have to give it to the crunchiest, spiciest song, in my opinion, on the album. So the nod went to You Know What I Mean. In the 11th hour, 12th hour, fuck. I mean,
all right.
right there. There you go.
I dig it. My turn?
Your turn.
Magic Pie, Dustiest Crumpet. I don't get it. I mean, I can listen to it. I just never want to. It's Getting Better Man, number 10. Fade In Out, number 9. My Big Mouth, number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Go Away, number 7. This is my Down by the Seaside, Ben. The Girl in the Dirty Shirt.
I knew it was going to be a high riser for you.
Yes, sir. Number 6. So right in the middle. Number 5. Do You Know What I Mean?
Holy fuck balls, dude.
I like this album a lot. I love Do You Know What I Mean? I got 4 more I like more than that. Number 4. If it weren't for the 3 above it, I'd put it higher. Okay. I love All Around the World. I love it.
At 4, you have it?
It's 4.
Both of ours.
Number 3, Stand By Me. Number 2, I Hope, I Think, I Know.
Damn.
And number 1 with a bullet. I probably, no bullshit, played this song more than any Oasis song. To and from work. It's the perfect time between my house and work. Cranking that shit. Be Here Now.
Really?
Love Be Here Now. It is swagger. It is loud. It's got a great, easy riff. And I was kicking up a storm from the day that I was born. From the day that I was born. And the yeah. Come on. Like, fuck yeah. And the toilet at the end of it. It is just... like it gets me, dude. I love the song Be Here Now.
I'm happy that I was wrong, solely because this proves the point that, you know, it's vastly different perspectives on certain songs, and I do love that. At the end of the day, surprising nonetheless, man. I don't read that through Be Here Now. It is one that I could bid adieu to. And not be upset about. And when I hear it, I'm also not upset. So it exists in the gray area I mentioned. Unfortunately,
it just makes me want to do the Liam walk down the streets of Chicago.
Really? Wow.
That'll be the shit in my head walking to the show.
Really?
Be Here Now.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Shit. Damn.
Yeah. I got Nate Stein to thank for that, man. I don't know if it's his favorite song from the album. I don't think it is.
About it. Okay. Well, shit.
Yeah, man.
Get me fired up about it. I'm going to revisit that after we get off here. So, cool, man.
We're a week away. A week from now, we will be
10:30.
Okay. We'll probably it'll be over.
It'll
probably
be over.
2-hour show, and we'll be in a daze walking back to our hotel, or wherever we end up, and thinking, okay, I didn't expect to hear the girl with the dirty shirt, but they did it.
I wonder what state I will be in at 10:30 Thursday next week.
I think we will be full, like, and empty at the same time. We'll be like our limbs will be a little bit limp, noodle arms, noodle legs from standing up in the field for as long as we will, because we it's like the closer we get, and dude, trust me, like the Carpenter fam here, both of us are, yeah, we can go to the stadium whenever you guys want to. Like, we're ready. Like,
yeah,
we can do some pre-gaming on the field. Come on, this is big.
Yeah, there's going to be some differing perspectives, if you will, come game time show day. I know it. I know it, and I'm not even going to state this. I'll state this on the record. Actually, we're stating this more on a record than almost anything. Talking about a callback here. My perspective could change. I mean, you know, when the good times start to roll, you get loose and you're like, but I know for a fact that if we're in the first 20 yards of this show, we're never, ever, ever for the rest of my breathing life going to regret it.
No.
If we dilly-dally because we're having belly laughs and having a good time, it would be the most bittersweet symphony to be in the opposing fucking north end zone. I guess it would be south end zone. South end zone, looking all the way down this tunnel of hundreds of fucking people, and not being close because we decided to have 2 more drinks and not get our asses over there. So
let's go.
I will be unapologetic, and you know, we'll have some flasks, we'll have some party favors to carry us along the way. We'll be fine, and I'm not worried about that. It's that I'm more anxious about making sure that we made it this far. We were in the first wave of ticket release. We're in that fucker, and I'm not bowing out in the 11th hour to be like, you know, now we're in Chicago. Plus, we have Wednesday night and stuff. So I think with the preliminary time that we've given ourselves, I'm flying up. I'm not going to be exhausted from a mere little 4.5 hour drive. It does take a lot out of you, though. I'm going to be tip-toppy shape when I arrive Wednesday, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed from an hour and 15-minute flight. Ready to fucking go at it, dude. And here's the thing. Tomorrow is a Friday. They're always great. They're always glorious. Saturday and Sunday.
Weekend, baby. And then you got a Monday and a Tuesday, and that's all I got to think about.
You wake up Monday and you've just got this little bit of pep in your step because you know that, like, everybody else is just going there. Here's the other kicker, though, is it's going into a holiday weekend. So everybody's kind of on the same page of, like, get me through this week. We got Monday off. You know what I mean? I think everybody.
That Thursday night would be, because the Labor Day weekend, we could be seeing the freaking Zach Brown band and everyone be in a great goddamn mood.
Yeah.
It just so happens on the Thursday leading into a already long weekend, we're seeing freaking Oasis.
And weather looks perfect. I'll tell you what, dude. I can't get over the thought of boarding that Delta flight Wednesday morning. It's going to feel so surreal, dude. Like, I took a flight for Rage, okay, to Chicago, United Center. But this flight is just going to feel – I'm going to feel like I'm going to Manchester an hour and 15 minutes away.
Yep.
Like, I'm going into a different world. And I've been to Chicago a million fucking times. So, like, this is going to be its standalone, one and only experience. And like I said, man, the last time that you, me, Nate, Matt, Kyle, Kenton, Danny were all in the same place at the same time was October 19th, 2019. It's my wedding.
Yep.
We're in fucking 2025 right now.
Almost 6 years removed.
Last time we were with Nate was homecoming last year. Crazy, dude. Like, time just goes. So
let's fucking do it.
So ready, man. Great episode. Fantastic album.
Yeah, here's the deal. It's not a 10 out of 10. I'm still going to give it an 8 out of 10 because I think there's enough amazing stuff on it. Even the filler, so to speak, is still. I'll listen to Magic Pie.
See, I enjoy that you give this more of a nod than even I do. So I give it a 7.
That might listen. I think a 7.5 might be the perfect difference right there for this one. Probably is.
I am on camp. Love it. Return to it. It grows on me the more I give it space to do so. I enjoyed it when it released. I told you that story where I rode home and I threw it on. But I also, there was moments where I found myself disappointed because I was like trying to chase some of the past. So when you let that go, it's up there 7, 8 out of 10. But
now for our next show, it may be a post. Well, no, it will be a post gig show, and It might be a few days later than normal publications are, but we will get that out there. And then it's time to go into the master plan. Or are we going to do the master plan? We probably should. I mean,
Yeah.
it's loaded.
Yeah.
I know it's a B-sides album, but it's loaded. So we'll do that before we get into Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, Heathen Chemistry, Don't Believe the Truth, and Dig Out Your Soul, which the later albums have some cool stuff. So we'll get to all that. But I'm glad that we did these three before this show, because as you have rightly predicted, we are not going to be hearing a lot of Dig Out Your Soul or Don't Believe the Truth or Heathen Chemistry or anything post Be Here Now. Not anything. That's not true. That's a mischaracterization. But at the risk of giving any more spoilers, we have covered most of what we will see in Chicago.
Yeah, let's see 'em. I was just looking back here at my predictions.
So let's do that real quick to wrap this up. Definitely maybe, predictions, Morning Glory, and Be Here Now. Your two for Be Here Now are Do You Know What I Mean and Stand By Me.
Yep.
Everything you said, everything on Morning Glory except Hey Now and She's Electric.
That's right.
Right. And then definitely maybe, I think you said, let me see if I can remember, Rock and Roll Star, Live Forever, Supersonic, Cigarettes and Alcohol, Slide Away. You had a few question marks, though. I forget which ones are question marks or sure things.
Let me see. I'm looking back.
Did you say Shaker Maker?
Question marks were Shaker Maker and Rock and Roll Star.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Did you have Columbia on the list?
Columbia, remember, was my it's my unicorn, man.
Sure.
If I see that, I am gonna be just absolutely blown away. But I don't think we're gonna get it. I didn't put it on my actual official list. So, you know what, dude? If you could make a graphic like of my 3 album predictions beforehand,
yeah,
just to have on hand, I would love to be able to reference it just in terms of
during the show.
I mean, whenever, even, I mean, do you fucking make the graphic? I'm not even ashamed to show Kenton, because I'll be like, Ken, this is my prediction. He has the ability to listen to these now. So
I'm going to give Nate your predictions.
Okay.
On Wednesday, I'm going to show him, like, hey, this is what he predicts out of your view, out of Kenton's view, so you won't get to see his face.
Yeah.
Which will either be like, or goddamn, you know. But I guess the next time I see you, we'll be in Chicago. In less than a week.
Shit, man. God dang, old man.
Waiting for 10 and a half months since we got the tickets.
Dang, old man. Yeah, it's. I keep replaying the moment in my head where I was up in our beach house down in Navarre Beach and getting ready to pull the trigger on that moment where you're like, all right, guys, get ready. Don't leave the queue. Don't, all the guidance and shit. Then we all went dead silent. And I look at my phone and I kept seeing the thread come through with like chats. 60,000. Are you fucking kidding me? And I looked down and I'm 2435. And I was like, oh, baby, they don't even know. Like, I for sure, without question, have 4 tickets, no matter what. Like,
no matter what, you're in.
I'm in. And I thought, here's the sticky part. In my head, in that moment, I'm playing the game of, all right, I've got 4 tickets. How the fuck do I do this? Because, man, if it was a mad scramble at that point for waiting for the secondary market to open up, if nobody else in our group besides 4 had the ability to go, it would have been like, how do we approach that game plan? We didn't even question it because I think we all knew going in, like, we're going to get 12 tickets. And we fucking did, all within like 4 minutes. But when I got that number and those 4, I was like, how on earth are we going to figure out who gets these?
Yeah.
So
I think eventually we would all just want secondary market and just bit the bullet.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it would have been better to do it then than now, because it's not gotten cheaper. It's gotten much more expensive.
It's funny. I told you I was at that bachelor party in Asheville, and my buddy Landon and Sandeep, they're both like massive Oasis fans, and didn't even know. This is the closest, by the way. I need to express this here on air. this is the closest that I've been to something being ruined. So I put my YouTube Premium account like on the TV in the Airbnb rental that we had. There's 18 dudes in this house. So like there's a pool, there's a sauna, there's a cold tub, there's 3 floors, there's a pool table. It's just one of those monstrosities of a house. And I'm in the pool. I get out, I play a game of beer pong, and I'm heading back in the house for a refresh, and I hear Columbia Live in the living room. And I'm like, oh shit. I was like, Nebworth, and Lana's like, fuck yeah. And I get out. I go back outside, play another game of beer pong, and I come back in, and Landon's yelling like, Yates, what do you want to hear? I'm gonna cue up a song from this year. And I'm like, don't you fucking do it. I'm like so thankful that he did just put something on. And I was like, he's like, what are you talking about? And I like let him know what was going on. And he's like, I was like, do you all even realize like, and in the essence of me telling the story, Atlanta's like, time out, pause. He's like, are you telling me that you're going to Chicago? And I was like, yeah, man. I like grab my Ticketmaster app and I throw it to him, and he's like, and he goes further in and he looks at the price, and he's like, you got these things for under $250 a piece? I was like, we got them on release day, dude. He's like, so then they looked him up because him and Sandeep used to live in Chicago. They were thinking about going, and I think the closest thing that they could find was a field GA ticket. It was like $800 a piece.
Like I saw a $700 one this week.
So
would you pay $700?
Yes. And the funny thing is, I would never think about offloading this thing, no matter what. Like,
yeah.
So we're sitting on like a fucking golden ticket, you know, and we're in there, and it's the first U.S. date, and the time is now, my friend. So I'm looking forward to it. The next time I will see you is going to be in Chicago when you leave school and head up north. Are you leaving from school? You gonna head to the house?
Yes,
cool.
Sir. Nope. I'll be packed. I'll be ready to go.
Ready to rock.
See you around 5 o'clock.
What's your energy and attitude gonna be like at school?
Sit down and shut up. No. We have some standardized testing and stuff that day, and then shortened classes after that. And
is it refreshing to know here at 38, almost 39, right? You're almost 39.
Yep.
That you're able to still sit in a Champaign Unit 4 classroom and be excited about like getting out of there. Remember, like when we were kids and we're like get me out of here. Like I would
have to go to a Bulls game or whatever.
Yeah. Like you're so much closer in kindred spirit to those kids than they probably even realize in that moment, where you're like, it kind of reminds me of like that, but also the scene from Hangover where Bradley Cooper's character's like, not now, Budnick, you know, I'm out of school, and the kid's just like trying to give him the money for like the field.
I have a kid in my room, great kid, and he wears a bucket hat like 3 out of 5 days a week. He either wears a bucket hat or a baseball cap. And he came in the bucket hat. I was like,
named Kent Elmore?
No shit. And I said, have you ever heard of Oasis? And the kid's like, yeah, I've heard of them. They're a band, right? I was like, yeah. I was like, the bucket hat thing, like you would fit in at an Oasis show. They're from England, and like a lot of their fans wear bucket hats. And you're right, though. It's like, I'll be going through, and here's the thing. I'm going to really I honestly will probably be my best teaching self that day.
You will, because I'll be my best self.
To go quicker, I need to be.
I know. Part of me wishes I could find the pocket that we're talking about right now in everyday life. Look, we live charmed lives, man. I've got 2 healthy kids. I've got a lovely wife. You know, I'm podcasting from my basement with my best friend. Okay. Like, you know, shit's not bad, but
doing okay.
You get in the life slog, man, where like you lose sight sometimes of the excitement that comes with everything else. And it's these type of things coming up where like that whole day I'll be asked probably up my mic when I'm like gearing up for, you know, leaving for the flight. And then I'm going to work a little bit when I get there Wednesday. And then also Thursday morning, like I'll pop on my laptop and shoot away some emails and stuff. But there's going to be an organic energy that's behind me that doesn't just always happen day to day. And it's going to be noticeable. So it's just crazy. But I do recall times back in school where you're like looking at the clock constantly and you're like,
come on.
let's roll. And
Oh, dude, I will be chomping at the bit, and then I will drive at a reasonable speed up
you're
to
gonna
the city
hit
of Chicago.
you're gonna hit John Street, take a left onto Mattis Avenue,
Mhm.
cross Springfield, cross County Fair. You're gonna
Yep.
take a left just past Schnooks and Monocles.
Bingo.
You will exit onto 57,
And then
you will fucking float.
and then you know what I'm going to play though.
Be here now.
Fuck
Jesus
yes, I'm telling you, dude. Dun, 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 dun. Oh shit! And then right off the offer, bow, down, down, bow, 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 bow. I'm fucking on the road, man. And I'm telling you, when we get off, put on Oasis GMX 97. You already have queued up. Listen to it. Be here now. Spicy Biscuit.
All right, wait, real quick. What is it?
It's opening track. So like that video you had up, that's how they
open. It's it. Okay, perfect.
They open with it, and it's awesome. All right, man. Let's wrap this up. This is Drop the Needleheads. Mike Carpenter Schmiggy with Ben Yates Yahtzee.
That's me.
That's him. Where the records spin, the bourbon flows. And in the case of this series, and especially this episode, the takes are as layered as Noel Gallagher's guitar on Be Here Now. Is it a 10 out of 10? No. Is it a mess? Yes. Is it Oasis? In 1997, at the peak of their powers, 110%. And we will be at Oasis at the peak of their powers 28 years later. Great movie, by the way. Really enjoyed it. In Chicago, Illinois, Soldier Field, on Lake Michigan, on a beautiful late August evening, a week from this goddamn moment.
Oh, fuck. Hell yeah, dude. You just got me going. Let's ride.
Let's just end that shit there. Right there, man. I mean, that's it. We are this giddy about it. So the next time we talk to you will be post-show, not immediately after, but after a few days when we let it settle and kind of get our thoughts together, because this is a big one. All right. For Ben Yates Yahtzee, I'm Mike Carpenter Schmiggy. We'll see you soon. It is Drop the Needleheads.